Hi. Good morning, Chandra.
Namaste, ma'am. Namaste, ma'am.
Namaste. How are you?
Fine, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Hi, Hasina ma'am. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. How are you?
Good evening.
Hi, Ruchi.
उनका पैसा देखिए शिवकुमार
Hello.
Am I audible? I could
Hi, good evening, all of you. I hope I'm audible to everyone.
Yes, Cheryl, you are.
Okay. So, good evening once again. Now we are here today to take part in the discussion on economic impact of COVID-19 on women, basically. And this program is organized on account of the birth anniversary of a freedom fighter and the first chairperson of the National Council of Women's Education established by the government of India, the woman who dedicated her life for women's emancipation, Durgabai Deshmukh ji. I am Cheryl Iona, the National Coordinator for All India Mahila Congress Social Media, and I will be moderating this event. And I thank each one of you for taking your time out and coming to attend the event. And I'm sure you will not be disappointed. We have with us three esteemed personalities, Ms. Sushmita Dev, who will be joining us shortly, Ms. Ruchira Chaturvedi, and Ms. Jeenil Gala. To just give you a brief introduction on our guest, Ms. Sushmita Dev, being the member of the Indian National Congress, is a former MP from the constituency of Silchar in Assam, and she has also served as a former MLA in Assam. She is currently the president of All India Mahila Congress, a great driving force to the team of Mahila Congress, and she has pursued her higher legal studies abroad at the King's College London and began her practice in Delhi once she returned. Now, a leader she has been, who has always been and always kept all of us on our toes when it came to serve the needy and to work on the women empowerment. All India Mahila Congress today is delighted and very proud and fortunate to work under such an esteemed personality. She has been the fierce advocate in the case of Women Reservation Bill, and All India Mahila Congress, under the guidance of Ms. Sushmita Dev, has conducted several campaigns, of which a few to name would be Meri Meeta, where the domestic helps were recognized and honored, the Mahila Adhikar Yatra, May Sahas Ho, 1 second. Sorry, I got a call. I think Sushmita ma'am will be joining us in a while. So we'll have to just wait for 2 minutes because she has been traveling, but she wants to attend this and she will give us the opening remarks. Yes, until she's here, I would like to continue with her introduction where I stopped. We had a campaign that was held in Delhi, May Sahas Ho. It was a solidarity march that was organized against the rising number of rapes in India. And there are many, many more campaigns, and it is indeed our pleasure to have ma'am with us today. She'll be just here in another 5 minutes.
Good evening, ma'am.
We have Pooja Tripathi, who has joined us, Dr. Pooja Tripathi, who is the National Coordinator for Social Media on the All India Mahila Congress. We welcome you for this event, Dr. Pooja Tripathi. Okay, let's not keep you waiting. We have with us the Andhra Pradesh Mahila Congress in charge from the All India Mahila Congress, Ms. Hasina Syed with us. Welcome you, ma'am, to the
Hi,
event.
Sharon. Hello, everybody.
We have two guest speakers today, Ms. Ruchira Chaturvedi, as I told you, and Ms. Jeenal Gala. Ms. Ruchira Chaturvedi is the national convener of the social media department of the Indian National Congress. She has been a former legislative assistant to a member of parliament. Even though she hails from a family that is not connected to politics, she has been keenly interested in current affairs and our polity. She decided to take up a career in politics as she strongly feels that politics should create more platforms to channelize the youth's energies constructively. She is a strong advocate of enlightened public discourse and believes that the youth, particularly women, must challenge the status quo in India. She believes that the change comes when we treat each other as equals. And when we genuinely try to empower each other, when each one of us becomes the change we need. I welcome Ms. Ruchira Chaturvedi to this event. Thank you for being a part of this.
Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you so much.
We have Ms. Jeenal Gala. Ms. Jeenal Nikunj Gala is a businesswoman and a politician who works around issues on policy making, finding sustainable solutions to practical problems, agendas of the grassroots, and creating the right platform for everyone's voices to be heard. A Bachelor of Commerce from Sydenham College, Mumbai University, Jeenal has worked in business initiatives spanning fashion, transport, event management, and medical and textile equipment. She firmly believes that social good can be achieved by translating intent to consequence and by promoting rehabilitation through empowerment for all. Currently serving as an executive member at the Mumbai Congress Social Media Department, Jeenal regularly opens on matters concerning local governance and state welfare. Always looking forward to engage with more people, Ms. Jeenal is an encourager and regularly mentors people for new initiatives in life with practical solutions. I welcome Ms. Jeenal Gala to this event. Thank you for being a part of this.
Thank you, Cheryl.
We are just waiting for Sushmita ma'am to attend. Until then, let us just go to talk about today's topic. Basically, yes, she's there. We have the All India Mahila Congress President, Ms. Sushmita Dev, ma'am, here. Ma'am, it is a pleasure to have you on this event. Thank you for being a part of this.
Thank you, Cheryl, for the invite. And I'm extremely sorry, but I have changed my timings like 3 times over because I'm traveling today. Can you all see me?
No, ma'am. Not.
But I can see myself. Can you not see me?
Yes, ma'am, we can see you.
Yes, yes, now I can see.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to welcome all the people who've joined us today on this platform. I'm happy to see that my Andhra Pradesh Mahila Congress president is part of this event, if you like, or this talk. I'm happy to see that my All India Mahila Congress in charge, Hasina ji, is also a part of this. And I think the key speakers who have joined us is Miss Jinal Gala, and I think there are some comments which will be given by Ruchira ji. So I would like to say that we first of all want to pay our tribute to such a well-known freedom fighter, Durgabai Deshmukh. And I always recall her for one very important reason, that she was in the Constituent Assembly, one of the 15 women who wrote the Constitution. In fact, coming from the Northeast, that is how I learned about her for the first time. And apart from that, I'm sure that everybody on this platform knows almost every contribution that she made to the freedom struggle, and her excellent and daunting history in empowering women. But I think what stands out to me about her is the fact that every time you judge someone in history, what is the most relevant thing is not what they did, but if you look at the perspective that the fact that she managed to make sure that Mahatma Gandhi meets the Devdasis when he visited Andhra, the important part is the age and time in which she did it. If today we were to do it in 2021, there would be nothing extraordinary about it. But think of the time and age in which she actually displayed the kind of courage that she did. Secondly, women's reservation is a big issue, and Constituent Assembly people were nominated and she was one of them. But the fact is, in those days, a country like India had decided that women will have the right to equal participation when writing the Constituent Assembly, and she was one of them. So she's historically relevant for every woman or in every narrative of women empowerment because of these reasons. And we also know about the fact that although she was married off at a very young age, and she was a lawyer by profession, to be able to negotiate our own separation from her husband is also something that must have been unheard of in those days. So if you take the perspective, her perspective, where she was placed at which time of Indian history, she's clearly an extraordinary woman, and we pay our respects to her. But the question is, what has changed since then? And pandemic, COVID-19 once again brings us back to the same questions. And the reason I say that, and I'm definitely not the key speaker today, it's the opening remarks. I think what the speakers need to address and what people who have come on this platform need to think about, that no matter what the nature of the crisis is, if it's a epidemic, if it's a pandemic, if it's a war, if it's a famine, if it's an economic crisis like poverty, every situation like this always impacts women differently. if there's famine, the first person who will have to skip a meal is the woman in the family. Every time there's a cut in the budget, the first thing the woman will have to give up is probably her sanitary pads. So every time there's a pandemic, the burden of the pandemic was on the woman, like we saw, because one, she was burdened with the entire responsibility of household chores. I'm sure there are exceptions, many husbands must have helped their wives, but she took the burden of the entire household chores when domestic help was not available because of lockdown. She was subjected to domestic violence because of the lockdown. So any given situation, I mean, women in conflict, in situations of conflict, if anybody is read up international law, how it's dealt with in war crimes, women are victimized in a different way during war and during conflicts. So every crisis, every situation that any nation faces, not just India, whether it's the West or whether it's Southeast Asia or whether it's Asia, women are impacted differently. And that's what even COVID-19 told us over the last 1 year or 1.5 years. More women have lost jobs. More women have faced domestic violence, which is violence, if you like, in one sense. Women have been asked to give up their jobs more than men, and we can go on and on and on. But there is no doubt about the fact that COVID-19 has impacted women economically in a far more drastic way. And now look at vaccination. Lactating women are having problems. Pregnant women are having problems. So there is always a gender angle when there is a crisis in a country. And I hope that is what you all will discuss. And what is important for us to remember, since today is the 15th of July and it's the birth anniversary of Durga Bai, is that no matter how tough it is, no matter what challenge is thrown at a woman, it has been proved over decades and over centuries. Doesn't matter how difficult the period was or what the times were that women have overcome these difficulties in the past. They are overcoming these difficulties today as we speak, and for the next many decades and centuries, women will continue to overcome these obstacles and these barriers. I have no doubt about that, and I really wish I could stay on, but I can't, because I have just arrived in Delhi to attend another press conference tomorrow in Odisha. So I need to prepare for that. I have a conference call in the media department, but I congratulate the Andhra president and everybody else who's made this possible today. I thank you all, and I hope that you send me a recording of what is spoken after I leave, because I saw a warning saying this program is being recorded, and I quickly got it. So do send it to me, and I'm very, very happy to see youngsters like Ruchira, Cheryl, and I mean, Hasina and I are not that young, but still, I mean, we would like to feel young, people taking initiatives like this. And a special thanks to my Andhra Pradesh Mahila Congress President. Thank you all. Enjoy yourselves, and don't forget to send me a recording. Take care. Bye.
Okay, ma'am, thank you for being a part in spite of your busy schedule. Surely I'll send you the recording. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have, there's nothing much. I thought I'll speak about the topic, but there's nothing much more to talk about the topic, because Sushmita ma'am has explained it so well in her opening remark. So directly, I would like to request the Andhra Pradesh Mahila Congress in charge, Ms. Hasina Syed, to address us.
Thank you,
To you,
Cheryl.
ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Cheryl. Very good evening to all. It gives me immense pleasure being part of this discussion. And as usual, it was a very wonderful and enlightening session by our Honorable President Shushmita Devji, who's always been an inspiration to women. And I should congratulate the social media team of AMC and Andhra Pradesh Mahila Congress for organizing this splendid session to mark the birth anniversary of Srimati Durga Bai Deshmukh. Out of all the issues that people are facing, I believe that more than any other, the economic impact on women because of the pandemic is the most important to focus on at this era. To quote, let's not forget that in India, the symbol of strength is a woman. Well, Madam President did speak a lot about Durga Bai Deshmukh, but I would like to quote a few words about Durga Bai Deshmukh. Well, as you all know, today is her birthday, and she was born on 1909 in Rajmundry from Andhra Pradesh. She was a front-ranker freedom fighter, active, and I take pride in quoting that she was a congressperson, and during her days, she was a very strong politician, an eminent lawyer, and a social worker, working for the cause of women and children. So that is something very impressive. She did a tremendous outstanding work in establishing several institutions, like we are all aware of Andhra Mahila Sabha for social developments, and a series of Durga Bai Deshmukh hospitals. We have one in Chennai also, which is doing a lot of service to the economically downtrodden sectors, and of course Venkateshwara College and Andhra Educational Society. For outstanding performance and social services, she was given awards like Paul G. Hoffman Award, Nehru Literacy Award, UNESCO Award, and Padma Vibhushan. She was definitely an inspiring and outstanding and daring woman of her era. And well, she died on May 9th, 1981. A sincere tributes to the great lady who made us so very proud. Now let's come to the topic of today's session, in which we are going to talk about economic impact of COVID-19 on women. We are all living in the era of COVID-19. One angle which many of us are not really focusing on, especially on the women's sector, is the unspoken long-term impacts of shutting adults and girls within the four walls. Is that a large comparable difference in the gender pay gap is developed, thus impacting the economy in the long run? This one part, I thought, it's a different angle that is, of course, affecting women. And coming to the statistics, the economic impact due to lockdown are all multifarious. We all know that. The pandemic have shrunk labor participation of women from 11% to 6%. The recovery was very, very unequal. As usual, by November 2020, men regained more jobs compared to women. The shock due to demonetization and GST also continues with still greater impact on women. COVID-19 has caused an unprecedented crisis all over the world, including India. Indian women are the worst sufferers in the pandemic. We all know that. The domestic pressure is also a lot on women. And the women are treated as a sector who earn and own less. That is how we are treated, irrespective of the fact that here the strength and the Shakti is Goddess Shakti herself, but women are treated this fantasy in our country, which is very unfortunate. See, the women in India are in general employees with very meager earnings. Let's say many of them are employed in the farming sector, construction, or domestic workers, and various other unorganized sectors, we could say. And there are 1% to 2% women sectors where I take pride in saying that they are also successful entrepreneurs. See, the women sector who are having these meager earnings, they do not have an assured income, and they're very poor in health and wealth. And this pandemic has created such devastating unemployment in all sectors, which has caused this disappropriate impact on income, saving, and healthcare of women and families. The already existing gender inequality, domestic violence compounded these problems more. The price rise of all commodities has made life miserable because of low purchase capacity, which left many families starving. Many of the women are labor migrants from far off places, and they've been uprooted from the places of work due to this pandemic. Well, these were theoretical sessions. The Andhra Pradesh Mahila Congress wanted to go a little bit far more, and we wanted to experiment, and we wanted to go to the ground and meet these women and understand what exactly is happening during this COVID to them. So as per the AMC instruction, our Andhra Pradesh Mahila Congress office bearers did conduct certain survey where they went for a door-to-door. And as I already told you, there are appalling facts which has come to our notice, like many women are starved for full meals and not to speak of nutritious food to improve their immunity in the pandemic. And of course, the lactating mothers are the most affected. They are worst sufferers. And as All India Mahila Congress is always concentrated on menstrual hygiene, we did witness that menstrual hygiene is a challenge during this pandemic. Lack of sanitary care is telling on the health of the women. They are unable to pay their loans and where they could afford for sanitary napkin. That is what when we went way ahead to distribute them sanitary napkins, this is what we were told. There has been a rise in the gender poverty gap as more women are pushed into extreme poverty compared to men. Many women are suffering, not to say with mental health problems due to loss of jobs and income and domestic work and what to say, of course, sexual abuse. Even though social workers are trying the best to support them, it does remain as a half-hearted attempt. We also noticed, and I'm marking this in Andhra Pradesh, we specifically noted that though the government of the state is boasting that they're doing this and that, of course, the government of the center and the state has failed to raise up to this present pandemic situation. And at Andhra Pradesh Mahila Congress, under the inspiration of All India Mahila Congress and Honorable our President, Ms. Shushmita Devji, working towards compensation to the women to recoup them from the distressing condition to how much ever extent we can. Well, in the real very sense, women's success is the family success also. And women, of course, is as mighty as the ocean. I guess you all agree with me. India predominantly being a populous country and Adi Abadi being women, as our Article 14 focuses on equality, I hope that everyone recognizes and works towards introducing recovery efforts to support women. The impact has been so high that in most cases, this will outlast the pandemic. I look forward to listening to views of the other dignitaries who are with me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. That was indeed very informative. Thank you very much. I now request the Andhra Pradesh Mahila Congress President, Madam Pramila, to kindly say a few words. Madam Pramila?
Yeah,
Yes.
I am extremely thankful to Madam Sushmita Devji and our in charge Hasina ji for having given this opportunity. I am really thrilled. And to speak about Durga Bhai Deshmukh, we have to speak volumes. We from Andhra Pradesh, we feel proud. She is the daughter of our soil. She served throughout her life in different ways to upliftment and empowerment of the women and children. And she established several institutions to serve the women in a distress. And we are really so happy that she was one of the women in the Constitution Assembly. And she did path breaking to women, to generations to come. Generations will remember her activities, her service, and her way of path to the women, the upliftment of women. In the COVID situation, we went door to door to identify the women folk, especially in the poor sector, most of them lost their jobs due to pandemic situation in the farming and non-farming sector too. And they are not able to meet their livelihood. Really, tears rolled down in my eyes. And we today, in tribute to Durgabai Deshmukh, we have distributed plenty of food grains, sanitaries, and multivitamin tablets, masks to the poor families whom were identified in our door-to-door campaign. And I hope and we will continue this till the pandemic situation is come to normalcy. And but the social workers' effort is not that sufficient. I know the government should come forward. Both central and government goes through much, but it is not really reaching the needy people. And we demand from the Congress party to see that these poor families are compensated sufficiently to come up from this crisis. I am once again thankful to you, madams, for giving me this opportunity, and we are happy to serve in the Mahila Congress platform. Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Pramila. Now, we will now invite our guest speakers. The first guest speaker, Ms. Ruchira Chaturvedi, to talk to us, to have a talk, and over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining here today. I want to congratulate the Mahila Congress team for organizing this, because I really feel that this is an issue which needs to be talked about a lot more. It needs to be part of the mainstream conversation. So this kind of a discussion is really, really helpful. I think, as Sushmita ma'am rightly said in the beginning, that like any crisis, COVID crisis it's been a universal crisis, but the impact has been a lot more harsh on women. And that's because women already face a lot of challenges. There are a lot of inequalities. And in time of any crisis, these inequalities, these challenges become even more sharp. Women in general, they get paid less, they have less savings. A majority of the women, they are in the informal sector. In fact, in India, majority of the working women are self-employed. And informal sector means that they have lesser social protections. So when a crisis hits, it's doubly hard for them. I think on employment, a lot of data and statistics have been talked about, that how a lot more women have lost jobs. The recovery has been slower. A lot more men have been able to get back to their jobs, but women are finding it much harder. A lot of women have been self-employed and their businesses have completely taken a hit. I think there's a lot of data which has said that 73 to I think 80% of businesses have been impacted. A lot of businesses, the incomes have been completely wiped out. So it's really, really hard for women. And obviously when in general, they are getting paid less, they have less savings. So that also directly impacts their ability to purchase a lot of things. Again, a lot of data which has said that 1 in 10 women, they had to sacrifice on food, they had to cut down on food. Sanitary napkins, which we have already spoken about, contraceptives is something which women have been impacted. Another thing which again was spoken about was and which is something which is very critical, is like during the crisis when everybody was working from home, household work, domestic responsibilities and childcare, that is something which increased. And that again something is not talked about. It is unpaid work. A lot of data has said that this work actually, if we talk about it, it contributes 19 lakh crores a year to the Indian economy. But again, it's something which is not recognized. And I think all the women who are here, I think they will agree that when these challenges increased, we had to balance work, we had to balance household responsibilities. That is something which we have all experienced, and it added to a lot of stress and mental health as well. Our mental health has also taken a toll. That again is something which is not talked about. It's something which is still not part of the mainstream conversation. Another thing which has happened is that as increasingly everything moved digital, everything moved online, that again created a lot of disparities, because again, women, when it comes to digital connectivity, there is a digital divide in terms of gender. As compared to men, less number of women have, mobile phones and even smartphones at that, with access to internet. So, and everything increasingly became online, especially education. A lot of, young girls, they've had to, drop out. They've not been able to, their education has taken a hit simply because they did not have internet connectivity. And digital literacy also, a lot more women. So women, I think they have also lost out opportunities that way, because there's a digital, disparity and disconnect. So these are some things which have, again, I think these issues have existed pre-COVID as well. They have just become a lot more sharper. And I really feel that this is an opportunity for us to really, take a step back, reevaluate and relook at our choices. What are the policies which are being framed, and are they really helping women or not? Are they really helping us fulfill our aspirations or not? So that is something which needs to be, which we need to relook at. And I think this is where discussions like these become very, very important, because I think it's very important to keep speaking up. Of course, government needs to take a lot more steps, to economically support women. In the immediate aftermath, I think women who have lost their jobs, especially self-employed women, help them out with like cash support. Those are some things which definitely the government needs to do. But the issues still remain the same about, a pay gap, issues about how women have lesser access to opportunities. The female labor force participation has already been very low. And after the pandemic, I think it's going to be at one of the lowest levels. So it's really an opportunity for us to relook and reevaluate what are the policies which are being framed, whether women, if they are the Adi Abadi, then they should be, central part of policy making, and their voices need to be heard. So, which is why I feel it's very, very important for all of us to keep speaking at various levels, at various forums, whether it's online through campaigns, whether it's, on ground, or if we organize discussion groups like this. Because if we do not say anything, if we do not do anything, then definitely no change will happen. But if we keep pushing for it, then definitely change will happen. So I look forward to hearing from everyone and my other co-panelists and people who have joined us here today more about this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ruchira, for that informative session. I would like to request our another guest speaker, Ms. Jeenal Gala, to address us. Over to you, Ms. Jeenal.
Thank you once again, Cheryl. And thank you to Andhra Pradesh Mahila Congress and Mahila Congress for inviting me to this panel discussion. And as Ruchira has rightly said, that if we do not talk about it, we will not be able to do anything, be it in a room of 50 people, 500 or 5,000. Financial independence is crucial to fight exploitation of women. This was Durgabai Deshmukh's strong belief. And this because she was born today that a new generation of women were born in India. A lot of things have already been mentioned by Sushmita ma'am, Hasina ma'am, our chairperson of Andhra, president of Andhra Mahila Congress, and Ruchira. So I would just add, sorry. Yes. So I will just add on to things. Impact of crisis are never gender neutral, and COVID-19 has been no exception to this. Women have always earned less, even today, and have fewer savings. And why does this happen? There are many questions which are still not answered. So hopefully in this discussion and many more discussions, we will get few answers to that. A recent report shows that the pandemic will push 96 million people into poverty, extreme poverty, and 47 million will be women. Yes, that's a huge number. And what will happen because of this? This will widen the gender poverty gap. That means more women will be pushed into poverty compared to men. Paid labor, women-run businesses have been hit the hardest.
And we all know the burden of unpaid care and domestic work that has exploded during this pandemic. Even before COVID, women used to spend 4.1 hours and men would spend 1.7 hours doing unpaid work. So imagine a woman is doing 3 times more the work, which is unpaid. Totally unfair. And we've known the responsibility for caring for those who got sick, the elders, usually comes on women. Yes, there are few men who have helped, but we're talking about the majority, and it's always, the onus has always been on women. And economic insecurity is not just about job or income loss, it has snowballed into an effect that lives of women and girls are going to be affected for years to come. Impact on education, impact on employment, they all have long-lasting effects. It's not that the pandemic will subside and all these problems will go away. It's going to take a long time for things to get back to near normal. And let's not forget, because of this pandemic, the increased risk of gender-based violence that has come. We've seen figures and we've had data and statistics showing us that women were affected, and in a country like ours where these things are just hushed between closed doors because of the stigma attached to it and the mental health issues which everybody has faced, but the women, when they have to compromise on food, on livelihoods and everything, you can't even imagine what they might be going through. I don't think they would even be able to confide to anybody. Forget confiding to anybody, they wouldn't even acknowledge it themselves. So hopefully if Andhra Mahila Congress can have a session on mental health also, it would be really good, because the more we talk about things, the more awareness we spread, because every one of us should do our bit. It's also, it's not just, women, which the kind of women that are going to go through these things are the vulnerable women who never make it to the headlines, like our migrant workers, the marginalized groups, single parents, the youth. They are the ones who are going to be extremely affected. And mind you, a lot of people, a lot of women, in fact, who had come out of poverty have been pushed back to extreme poverty once again because of this pandemic. In India, let's just talk about some figures that, vaguely that I read about. Women make up to 20% of our workforce during COVID-19, but the share of job losses is going to account for 23%. I mean, these numbers are boggling. We just think they are numbers, but in percentage, but when you go, they run into crores. So it's not a small number. Women's contribution to the GDP in India is only 17%, which is the lowest in the world. And we are a country which has had our prime minister decades ago, and still we are lagging behind. So this is something definitely that every woman should think about. And like Ruchira said, I'm just going to repeat it again, the digital divide. We have the digital divide between the urban and rural, but also the digital divide between the genders. Forget having to know how to use the internet. They don't even have access to smartphones, because they are like, why does a woman need to have that? Because women, according to society, have fixed things to do: cook, feed, and produce. Unfortunately, it is still there in many households even today. So, December 2019, there was a survey, and they came up with some statistics and some numbers. To even achieve basic gender parity, it would take us 99.5 years. Can you imagine? 99.5 years. But because of this pandemic, it is going to take us 135.6 years. What are we giving back to our daughters? What are we giving back to the girls? We know all these figures, we know all these data, we've attended many lectures, we are reading news. Recently, I also read that in India, we have seen people are selling their gold jewelry to make end meet. Gold jewelry for women is not commodity in India. It is a sentiment. It is a sapna. It is a dream that from when a child is born till marriage, the gold is bought and saved. And today, the situation is so bad that they have to even sell their gold. The present BJP government hasn't done anything to help women. Inducting 11 women ministers in the cabinet is just mere lip service. And it has helped nobody at all. We've spoken about these issues, but I believe, and I'm sure a lot of us also believe, that to criticize, to talk is one thing, but to come up with solutions or to try to come up with solutions is something that we all must do. What can be done? We might think that me as a person, what can I do? But let us think, if Durgabai Deshmukh had also thought that I have what I want, if she would have been selfish, probably we wouldn't be in this panel discussion today. So we have to think about the larger good for everybody, and only then as a society will grow. There are some things that we can do, but firstly, more representation of women in the legislature. It is very important that this happens, because only then, how can anybody else understand what women are going through? How can anybody else decide on what women want? And until and unless we do not have that, things are not going to change. 136 years is something that we really need to think about. They can, like I said earlier, our migrant workers, direct income support and cash transfers to them would at least help them to meet the basic daily needs, so they can have that basic tangible help. That is one thing the Congress government, which has done very well in Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh, and we would hope that other states would also go ahead with that, with cash transfers, with Manrega, support women-owned businesses, give them grants, give them stimulus, encourage them, empower them that they can work and they can contribute to much more of our GDP, because Adi Abadi is women, are women. So these are, apart from that, obviously we women have to support each other. We can have support groups which are already existing, but the awareness has to be upscaled. Another thing which is important is, even when I started working, I was asked, are you allowed to work? Will your husband be okay? This kind of mindset, if it doesn't change, and women have also asked me this, it's not just the men. If this kind of mindset doesn't change, nothing is going to change. Because they feel, oh, the girl is going to get married, then she's going to become a mother. So if you have affordable quality childcare, these questions will not be asked. Organizations will not hesitate in getting women inducted in their businesses. Women will not hesitate in starting their own businesses. So these things, we also have to question ourselves in that. And we have to bridge the gender parity gap. And that's the only way it is going to happen. Engage citizens, that we have more public campaigns, more awareness. The Congress Party has always been vocal about empowering women, and we must take it at a larger scale, because we have gone back many, many years because of this pandemic, and we do not know what the future holds in terms of economy, health, or anything related to that. And women are 100% affected much more than men. Then enhanced skill for women. There are multiple things that one can do, but the question is the government ready to do? Are we ready to ask for what is actually ours? I will end this talk with this question to everybody. Are we ready to ask for what belongs to us? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jinal. Indeed, the talks from our guest speakers today have been indeed very, very inspirational. And I think it has left us with a lot to ponder about, because there are certain things that probably even we haven't even thought of. So there's something that we really need to think about on what you spoke. We really need to realize, we are far behind what we are supposed to be now. And once again, I thank our guest speakers for attending this and, being an inspiration to us. Now, we are open to questions from the audience. So in case anyone wants to put up some questions, you can kindly raise your hand through the app, through the Zoom app. There's an option where you can just raise your hand and then we'll reach out to you.
ఇదిలో ఓనే చేస్తుంది.
I think Shiba and Maria
Yes,
to say something.
there is Shiba Ramachandran and Maria Vinola. Okay, can we have Shiba Ramachandran? Shivaji, you can speak. Please unmute yourself.
Namaste, along with you, especially today's chief guest, Srimati Rujita Chaturvedi ji, then Jeenan Gala madam. Then I am grateful today in this evening we shared the dais with the National President Sushmita Dev ma'am, then Cheryl ma'am, Madam Hasina ji, Andhra Pradesh President Pramila ji. First of all, let me express my Shraddhanjali to Durgadesh by next
Durgabai Deshmukh.
Durgadesh. Hi. My question, it is a wonderful talk. Really, it's a informative one. Then both of you mentioned about how to reduce the inequalities. But I need a little clarification regarding the same. How to reduce the inequalities of informal sector, especially marginalized and migrated ones. Any one of you kindly clarify that one. Inequalities in informal sector during this COVID era.
So you are saying how to reduce inequalities in the marginalized and informal sector.
Yeah, financial inequalities.
Definitely. So I think one of the things which I think both Jeenal and I have spoken about was something basically catering to the needs of the informal sector. As we know that informal sector, people who are working, in fact, major chunk of the economy is in the informal sector and they don't have social protections. So what happens is when a crisis hits, then they are a lot more impacted. And which is why I think Congress Party has been talking about providing a social protection, providing, in fact, as a first step, asking them for a direct cash transfer. That is something Rahul Gandhi ji has also been speaking about. And I would go on to say that not just provided to, definitely for the informal sector, but women also. Right now, the issue is that whatever response the government has given, women, it has not been targeted towards women. So the women get left out. Even when people receive direct cash transfer, where are the women in that? When women are, majority of the workers are there in the informal sector, there should be a targeted response. So let's say the women who are working in the informal sector, they should be provided direct cash support. In fact, there have been reports that ASHA workers, they have not been provided, basic their salaries for months. So that is something which the government needs to do. So in general, I would say that providing, protection in terms of not just financially, but health-wise, whatever assistance that the government should provide, they should do that. I think there are some states also, I think I was reading about it, that NREGA work has been helpful for, migrant, people who had migrated and who then came back to their states. And in that states which have been able to provide a lot more NREGA work, women have also benefited from that. So that is something, I think, targeted responses, targeted policies. Right now, the issue is that only that policy making is not targeted towards women. So government needs to frame those kind of policies and identify what is it that women need. Like, in fact, the businesses also, I would say, because a large chunk of working women, they are self-employed, they have their businesses, and businesses have been completely, like, they have been impacted. So government should also provide support to those businesses, how they can come back on their feet. So these are some things which I feel the government needs to do.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Maria Vinola.
Thank you.
Good evening, ma'am, and everyone. I am from Tamil Nadu Congress. Recently, I have been seeing in all the social medias, women are being moralized in some villages, or they have made nude for the small, in the case of love affairs, and also in other parts of the village, we have seen many women are being brutally murdered. They are being sexually assaulted and made nude and everything. These videos, they are being putting in the social medias, and now it is being circulated. What we Mahila Congress are to do, come forward to stop this type of crimes which have been openly done by all the villages. If it is done in a four walls, we can understand there was no one to raise voice for her. But we are seeing that it's been widely spread all around India, and also it's been going abroad also. So when a crime which we are seeing in our own eyes, we are unable to take any steps, and the police authorities, they don't take any steps. Now, how can we stop? We have to make a full stop of the crimes which are being done in public. What we Mahila Congress can do for stopping of this open crimes? Anyone can answer this.
Beautiful question.
Well, that is not a topic of discussion here. We're talking on the economic issues. And we request you to recall the Unnao rape incident or whatever incidents that is taken place in UP, where both Rahul ji and Priyanka ji were right on the field, and the kind of protest headed by our All India Mahila Congress president and the team was applauded by the entire media. It is not that, you know, the nude pictures go around and if it comes to the notification of the All India Mahila Congress and we sit and watch. No, our team gets onto the road and we protest. Okay, and in a country like India, which is a populous country, where we talk and focus more on Article 14 on gender equality, the Constitution provides all the rights for gender equality, and All India Mahila Congress has always been at the call to answer whenever there is such a predominant issue. Anyway, it's a very detailed subject to discuss about, and today our matter of concern and a matter of topic is economic impact on COVID-19. Maybe at another day, we would like to go into this topic in detail, and we would invite you, Maria Vinola. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Dr. Vijay Kumari.
Good evening, all. I thank All India Andhra Mahila Congress who initiated this discussion, and All India Mahila Congress who have encouraged this discussion. And thank you, speakers. The information that we received from you was very helpful. At the same time, when Ma'am Gina told the gender parity because of COVID, though we fight so hard, so loud, to the best ability that we can, it's going to take 136 years. It is really shocking, and yes, we have been encouraged by hearing the history from Durgaba Deshmukh ji. People like them, we have been working for years, but they also do not know, though they couldn't see the fruit. So, when it comes to women, it is women who are affected in all spheres, in all aspects, physically, mentally, financially, emotionally. Handling all these angles in a woman, is it not really challenging? Because women are not by themselves. They are not controlled by themselves. They're controlled by everybody in their house, everybody outside when it comes to their workplace. So it's really a very challenging issue. So I think everything that has to be handled has to be handled step by step. As you said, the mental health has to be looked into separately, the emotional health separately. So everything all together, the final decision that has to be made by a woman. And I think we need to have a lot of motivation and repeated programs to handle them, which is not easy. It would be good if you can suggest, give us some points, where we can easily access to cater these needs of women.
Dr. Vijay Kumari,
Yes.
well, a gist of the question that you asked us, it speaks on the confidence level of a woman. No more we women are considered as slaves. Why do we categorize ourselves that we are controlled by anybody? I don't think I'm controlled by anyone. Okay, it is all how do you feel? How do you feel? You are an eminent doctor and daughter of former Chief Minister Narayan Samiji, and you're a successful doctor by yourself. And I don't expect this kind of a question from you. You must go down to the roads and you must go down to the women and you must be empowering themselves. And I'm surprised with such kind of a question from you, Vijay. It's really disappointing.
We have been finding it really
You must come out
challenging
with solutions to bring out all those women and
with
make
the
them empowered
women in the
rather
village.
than you asking us these questions.
I thought if
I hope
more
my
can be.
co-speakers, my friends would also agree on the same.
Completely agree.
Yes.
Okay, fine now.
Although I do understand what she is saying and where she's coming from, and that is a challenge which all of us here, all women, they face. But I completely agree with you that if we, I mean, it's how we view ourselves. If we are weak or we are slaves, then that will be our reality. So we need to believe in ourselves, and if we believe in ourselves, then only can we also empower, fellow women. So I completely agree with Hasina ji.
Okay, Vijay, thank you.
I think there is Payal Bose. Payal Bose.
Thank you, Cheryl. Good evening, everyone. So far, it's been an amazing session, and yeah. So basically, there was just one very common question that I wanted to ask, and that was now we know that a lot of women have lost their jobs, and a lot of small-scale businesses that were started by women were also forced to shut down during the pandemic. But what I wanted to know is how is this going to affect women and their pay gap that is already existing in the market? How is this going to affect, and to what extent would it affect, and how do we cope with it? Thank you.
I think I'll just add one thing that the pay gap, like across the world. I mean, in India, it's a lot more stark. I think globally it's 16%, and in India it's 35%. And what happens is that when women have already lost their jobs and government is not making any efforts to sort of rehabilitate or help them get their enterprises back on their feet, so I mean economically they become even worse off. I mean, I wouldn't know, I mean, data wise I wouldn't know, I mean, how much harder it would impact them, but definitely, I mean, anyways they are earning a lot less, and now they are completely, I mean, their savings and their businesses have been wiped off, and without any efforts from the government side to rehabilitate them, I think they're going to go back like a lot more in time. So that is something which is a cause of concern. And I think the problem also is that it is still not part of the mainstream conversation. The policy responses that we are seeing, the response to, the packages which are also coming, they're not really targeted to women. They're not talking about, women. That is one of the major issues, which also needs to be addressed. So that is something which needs to be done. And I don't know, right now the employment situation and the businesses anyways, it's quite badly affected. So till that improves, I don't see, I don't see the situation improving. At the same time, I would also add that, because a lot of things have become digital, a lot of women have also, because women, I think they also tend to be very enterprising. So they have also, a lot more women have started, digital ventures. So that is something which a lot more women have also taken up. But I still think that the government needs to come out in support and have targeted responses, like, which are for women, catering to women, and provide them all kinds of support.
Thank you very much, ma'am. As a follow-up question, I just had a very general question, because I am Payal Bose and I'm the state spokesperson of Andhra Pradesh. My question was, as a spokesperson, what is it that I can do that will help women who have been, affected by the pandemic, or in general, how can I contribute towards this, is what I wanted to ask.
So I would just say a few things. I mean, it really depends. Like, I think initially, I think Hasina ji had mentioned that Andhra Pradesh Mahila Congress was providing, support, economic support, and, sanitary napkins and all those things. Those kind of drives are being organized. So if that is something, that is something you could take on your own or through the Andhra Pradesh Mahila Congress. That is definitely something which can be done. The second thing is providing help in terms of resources. So if that is something you feel you could do, you could also do that. And thirdly, I think, which all of us should be doing, and since you are spokesperson, I think it is kind of, you will be doing that, is also raising the issues, because women's issues are also not being raised. That is one of the major issues. So I think that is something which you should definitely do.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is Athira.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. So as we have spoken, the economic impact of COVID-19 has been tremendous. And I feel that one need not rely on any statistics or any research work to understand the fact that it has been worst hit. The women has been worst hit by that. So I feel that it is mainly because of the societal prejudice against the women. And I would like to know what you guys feel about a possible solution for this. And Jinal, if you can answer to that, would be great.
Thanks, Athira, for the question. Like you've rightly said, data, statistics is all more of for an academic debate. And definitely, this is the discrimination, what is there is because of the societal prejudices. And we've already heard about the numbers, so I wouldn't want to get into that, but what can be done is, I would like to repeat myself, is representation of women in legislature. If that happens, problems would get solved quickly. As the Congress party has suggested, 33% of representation of women would make a lot more difference. But just changing laws is not going to help. We as a society have to change. What is a society? All of us make the society. Society is nothing that is just dropped out of air. It is we people that make up the society, men, women, other, all of us. So until and unless we do not change the mindset, and how do we change the mindset? By having such discussions, by social media playing a part. Like even Payal said, what can she do? Like with she being such a strong voice of the youth, if she talks, many people join her. If people from mass media join, I cannot say the same about our fourth pillar these days, because we all know how compromised they are. But we at our individual level have to start talking about this, because there is only a certain way that you can criticize, but you need to have solutions. And every voice does make a difference. And if we've seen throughout history, it's always one woman who has started something and others have joined. And the mindset, we women have to also stop asking people, oh, will your husband be okay? Or is it okay if you work overtime? You know, we have to stop asking these questions ourselves and do not even answer to these questions when you are asked, because this is ours. And this is not something that we have to snatch. This is rightfully ours and it's always going to remain ours, and have to be confident enough to smash the patriarchy is what I would say.
Thank you so much, Gina, for that. And that's it. That perfectly answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Tuhina Chandrasekhar.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I am Tuhina Chandrasekhar from Tamil Nadu Mahila Congress. I don't exactly have a question. It's very appalling, like after all of you have spoken, to know of I know numbers don't really matter because we can see how it has affected us the most. But even though like we've been having on behalf of the Congress party, we've been doing a lot of speak up campaigns. We have a lot more women coming out and speaking nowadays, and it's much better compared to what it was before. But how can we help to bring out more women to speak up? I think this is just not enough what we have been doing, but being voices who we want to make ourselves be heard, but how more can we help to bridge this gap? Because I think even last year between March and April 2020, we had 17 million women who went losing jobs in both the formal and informal sectors. And how can we also help in providing better social protection? And if you can give us some sort of guidelines to that, it will be great.
Should I take that?
I thought you were saying it's fine. Go on. I'll add on to that.
I'm sure Ruchira and I share similar thoughts in what we're going to talk. Like you said, yes, we've had a speak up campaigns, but one must, as Cheryl had said, I am an encourager. So rather than finding faults and criticizing, I don't look at the glass as half full or half empty. I look at it as it's refillable, whatever it is. So yes, we definitely need to do much more, but the Speak Up campaign has at least helped a lot more women compared to what it was before the pandemic to talk. And we've had amazing voices. I was one who started very early on. Ruchira out here, right here, has helped reach my voices to thousands of people on social media. So when we have women like Ruchira, we are in right hands, that we know that whatever we are saying is going to reach to the right people. So support each other is something that we can do at a basic level. We don't need any seminars to understand that. We don't need any panel discussions to understand that. Always, they are the simple things in life. If we follow, like put yourself in the other woman's shoe, you will get your answers. These are the simple things. We tend to make life very complicated. Life is very simple. So follow the simple things. Yes, what other things that we can do? Meet like-minded people that we have. If you're in college, if you're in school, if you're at workplace, encourage them, ask them to talk. But let me tell you, it is not very easy for everybody to talk because of various reasons. So we should not even shun them that, oh, you cannot speak, or you don't have the confidence, or you fear something, because everybody comes with their own mindset. Everybody comes with their own reasons. But what we can do is try and explain to them, or we can be their voices. That is why we have the Congress party. That we can be voices to those who don't have a voice, and we can reach out to more people. To answer your second part of the question about the social security, in India, we don't even have proper data. Even the last census was done was in 2011, and because of the pandemic, we haven't been able to have the data done. But there is, yes, we did come out with Aadhaar, but we heard a lot of stories and things about it. But one thing, what I would like to speak is, those of us who are sitting here are at least little better off then our women friends who are from the marginalized communities, our migrant workers. So how we could help them? The governments can go door to door, give them Manrega, give them Nyay, only then. Like our party, if we all know the Pulse Polio campaign, which went door to door. And unfortunately today, we have to go to get vaccinated in various places. So our party has always been a pioneer in doing things. And I am sure as an opposition, we are asking the right questions. And in states where we are in power, I'm repeating myself, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh, we've had record-breaking numbers where these schemes were there and they were implemented. And that's the way to go forward. One thing, vote for the right party, a lot of issues will be sorted, because everything we do is connected with politics. The food we eat, the education, the clothes we wear, the places we work in. So these simple things, if implemented correctly, I'm sure we can see changes at a much faster pace.
Thank you so much. I think, as you said, our mindsets have to change, and I just hope and wish that gets across to a lot of people. And yeah, thank you so much for your points.
Thank you, speakers. We have 3 more who have raised their hands to ask questions. Let us have it quick because we are running short of time now. Ashwini Mishra. Are you there?
Hello.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, ma'am. My question is to Jinal ji. As women are always an inspiration for everybody, I looked up who Durga Bai Deshmukh is. After I saw the poster, I'm happy that All India Mahila Congress is celebrating her birth anniversary. I was surprised that such a beautiful and a wonderful life of grit and dedication was missed by me. As a woman, I always read many inspirational ladies. We have Iron Lady, our Prime Minister, Mrs. Indira Gandhi ji, but I missed her. However, critics always say that we must look at a present problem and not bask into the past glory. What are your thoughts and views on this?
Well, Ashwini, on behalf of Andhra Pradesh Mahila Congress, I thank you that you are inspired like many other women out there about the achievements of Durga Bai Deshmukh ji. And way forward, we look forward that, India produces more such Durga Bai Deshmukh, and maybe Ashwini will also find a place there. I see that you're an youngster and you're very much interested. So we want more and more women participation in politics. Only when more and more women participate in politics, these kind of changes can actually take place.
Sure.
Thank you.
So Ashwini, yeah, there's a very funny thing. We've seen the current government blaming everything on Nehruji and Congress, and we're not supposed to bask in the glory. But coming to that later, even like you said, there is a Maharashtra connection also with Durga Bai Deshmukh. She was married to Mr. Deshmukh, who was from Maharashtra. Back then, Bombay. So we have, and I am from Mumbai. So Andhra and Mumbai is a good amalgamation.
Yes. Mr. Deshmukh, the former finance minister of the country.
Yes. So I think for me personally, it would not be wise to say that, there is nothing to learn from the past, because our present and future is different. Yes, I do agree to a certain extent that you can't bask in the glory, but we must remember the issues that we are facing today were even there back then. It's just the severity that has changed. So the way they used to protest earlier probably was different. The way we protest now is different. But always remember, it's always a fight between justice and prejudice. And only way the prejudice will go if we overcome it. So, and how do we do that? If our stalwarts, like we have Durga Bai Deshmukh, and you mentioned our Prime Minister Indira Gandhi ji. So the beliefs that they stood for, the principles that they stood for. We have to learn from that, and we have to take all that and then go in the future and decide what we want to do and how do we take it. Because only then, even today, like I said, it's going to be taking us more than a century to even have the basic gender parity. So I feel that it is important to look back at the past so that we know what is happening in the present and we can look forward for the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for the compliment, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you. Can we have Tina, please? Tina Karamveer.
थैंक यू सो मच। आप सभी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, और मैं अश्वनी जी का धन्यवाद देना चाहती हूँ क्योंकि मैं पहली बार महिला कांग्रेस में आप सभी महिलाओं को, जो ताकतवर महिलाएं हैं, उनको सुनने का मौका मिला। मेरा सवाल मैं जीनल जी से पूछना चाहती हूँ कि वर्तमान में आप नौकरी का तो सवाल ही छोड़ दीजिए कि महिलाओं को नौकरी का कोई स्थान, लेकिन ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में अगर हम बात करें तो वहाँ की जो महिलाएं हैं उनको मनरेगा की मजदूरी तक नहीं मिल रही है। विपक्ष लगातार इस पर सवाल उठा रहा है, लेकिन फिर भी आप देखेंगे कि अगर मैं हरियाणा की बात, क्योंकि मैं हरियाणा से हूँ, तो वहां पर महिलाओं को मनरेगा की मजदूरी भी नहीं मिल रही है। तो इस पर आपकी क्या प्रतिक्रिया, ये मैं जानना चाहती हूँ। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
शुक्रिया। तो आपने प्रश्न हिंदी में पूछा है तो मैं हिंदी में आपको जवाब दूंगी। आई होप दैट इज ओके विद एवरीबडी एल्स एंड आई जस्ट यूज सम। सो आपने जो कहा है मनरेगा का, तो हमें ये एक बात समझनी चाहिए कि जब कोई भी महामारी ग्रामीण इलाकों में पहुंचती है तो आजीविका हानि एक दो-धारी तलवार की तरह होती है। इट्स अ डबल एज स्वॉर्ड। वो कैसे? क्योंकि एक तो प्रवासी शहर छोड़कर, क्योंकि उनकी नौकरियां चली गई है, वो अपने गांव लौट जाते हैं, पर गांव जाके भी उनको रोजी रोटी तो कमानी पड़ती है। वहां पे भी महामारी की इतनी दुविधा है कि उनको नौकरियां नहीं मिलती है। और ये जो बात है अब से नहीं हुई है। 2016 में जब हमारे प्रधानमंत्री ने रातों रात नोटबंदी का ऐलान कर दिया था, तब से पूरा साइकिल चक्का जाम हो गया है। दिस इज अ विशियस साइकिल। ये एक दुष्चक्र है, क्योंकि डिमांड क्रंच खत्म हो गया। लोगों को कोई चीज खरीदनी नहीं है, लोगों को चीजें नहीं खरीदनी, इसलिए चीजें बन नहीं रही है, इसीलिए लोगों को नौकरियां नहीं मिल रही है। तो ये पूरा एक चक्रव्यूह है जिसमें हम सब फंस गए हैं, और खासकर जो हमारे प्रवासी बहनें हैं। जहां तक मनरेगा का सवाल है, मैंने एक दो मुझे जो सवाल किए थे मैं वापस कहूंगी, रिपीट कर रही हूँ तीसरी बार इनफैक्ट, कि जहां पे कांग्रेस की सरकार है वहां मनरेगा का अच्छी तरह से लोगों को वो सुविधा मिली है, राजस्थान में, छत्तीसगढ़ में। तो मैं चाहूंगी कि आप आपके हरियाणा के दोस्तों को, सभी मित्रों को बोले कि वो कांग्रेस पार्टी को वोट दे, क्योंकि यही एक पार्टी है जो हर एक इंसान की हर एक चीजों को पूरा करता है। जैसे कि महात्मा गांधी जी का तालिस्मान, whenever you do something, think how it is going to help the poorest of person. So अगर हम ये चीजें याद रखेंगे तो जरूर होगा। और अगर हरियाणा में जहां आप किसी को जानकार हो तो महिला कांग्रेस है, यूथ कांग्रेस है, हमारी कांग्रेस पार्टी है, वहां के लोग हैं जो सभी लोगों को मदद कर रहे हैं, तो आप उन तक भी जरूर पहुंच सकते हो। तो यही कोशिश रहेगी हमारी। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, speakers. I think we are done with the questions. So quickly, I think we have taken quite long. We have started at 7:30, and the speakers also need to leave because they are busy. So quickly, I would like to just propose the vote of thanks to specifically our All India Mahila Congress President, Ms. Sushmita Dev. In spite of a busy schedule, she has taken time for us, and in spite of traveling, she has just at least come and addressed us for some time. So thank you to our president, and I would like to thank our guest speakers today, Ms. Ruchira Chaturvedi and Ms. Jeena Gala, for again taking your valuable time out and, coming here and giving such informative talks. And I'm sure it has been a great information for all of us who have gathered. And I would like to thank the Andhra Pradesh Mahila Congress in charge, Ms. Hasina Syed, for your support. Madam Pramila, the Andhra Pradesh Mahila Congress President, for your support, Madam. I would like to thank Aishwarya Mahadev and Pooja Tripathi for all the support lent when I spoke to them about organizing this event. And I would like to thank the Andhra Pradesh INC social media state coordinator, Mr. Rakesh, for all the technical support lent to organize this event. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the office bearers, all the coordinators of All India Mahila Congress, and all the participants in and outside the party for joining this meeting, for joining our discussion, and making this event a very successful one. For sure, we organize. We should be able to organize many more events like this, because I didn't know that this would get this interesting. So thank you once again to all the speakers, and all the participants. Thank you once again for making this event a huge success. Take care. Have a.
Thank you. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you. Thank you. So we'll be closing the meeting here. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Ruchira and Jinal, it was great having you on board. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hasina ji. Thank you.